although you've done rearranging equations before, we are now looking at it at the Year 12 type questions. So there are two distinct questions they like to ask, all right? But basically when we're rearranging equations, what we're doing is making some particular variable the subject. Yep, in your algebra part. So back where we left the 5 pages. Right, so if I write E equals mc squared, we should know that formula, all right. So in this particular case at the moment, E is the subject. It's the thing that it's talking about. E standing for energy, right. So if we were going to rearrange this, we would be looking at M or C becoming the subject. So we want to know how much the masses, or whatever the C stands for, is in comparison to the other two variables. All right? So I'm going to say make C the subject. Okay? So in making C the subject, what we have to do is that the things I find that make it easier is, first of all, I take whatever the subject is and I put it on the left-hand side with everything else. Okay, now I want to get rid of everything on that side except C. So I'm going to bring everything else over here by using those rules of opposites. So if it's multiplied over there, it divides on the other side. If it's added over there, it subtracts. If it's a square, it's a square root. So we do all of those procedures. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of the M. It's being multiplied by the C. So C squared equals E, not divided by, because we like to have it over. Now I need to get rid of the squared. So I take the square root. Now the trick here is, technically, this has to be the positive and the negative answer. All right? But if it is an actual something that could only possibly be a positive, sometimes that's part of your answer as well. So if you're finding the length of something, no such thing as a negative length, so we drop the negative off. But on the next line, so we say, I know there's two answers, but actually energy equals mass times, I'm going to say this had to be positive, whatever it is. Universal constant, maybe, okay. So, in fact, we're going to say that because, and we're going to make a statement of it, C can't be negative. All right, so that's one of the two things. They deal a lot with taking square roots. The other type of problem is a little bit more technical. So the other sort of equation that we often ask to rearrange is usually with y's. And you've seen these because they've been in your homework for the last 2 weeks. All right? And it says make x the subject. So again, I'd follow my rules and I'd put the x over here. Oh, but there's 2 x's. So which one am I interested in? Actually, both of them. I need x to be over here, and I need there only to be 1. So what do I do with the other one? Well, that's this learning process. So we're going to rewrite this first. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is actually break the rule, because I'm going to multiply this over here. Okay, so now I've got x's over here and x's over here, and I've just said we only want 1x. So what happens next? We're going to multiply out the bracket. Okay, Now we're going to collect like terms as such. We're going to put the x's over here because we're interested in them, and anything else, we're going to chuck it on this side. So we're going to keep the 5x. We're going to move the positive 2xy over here and make it minus 2xy, yx, xy. Going to leave the negative 3y here because it doesn't have an x. I'm going to move the 1 over here because it doesn't have an x. Now we're going to undo what we did up here. We're going to take x out, because that's the one we want, as a common factor. We're not going to take anything else. Even if we can, we're not going to, because we only want x. So we're going to put x over here. That leaves 5 and 2y. And then that 5 minus 2y is multiplying by x. So we're going to divide by it. We have now rearranged that equation from y equals to x equals. Quite a lot of steps in there. Not too many places you can make shortcuts, but definitely a merit level question. All right? Okay.